Well, hey everyone, my name is Neal Collins, and first I want to thank Wrestlers in Business Network for the opportunity to speak today. Really want to just introduce myself first. My name is Neal Collins, and I have been involved in wrestling for 30 years now. I remember the first time I grew up in South Carolina. It's not the mecca of wrestling. However, decided to go out for the wrestling team, and 3 weeks later, I lined up, toe on the mat, toe on the line, and faced my first opponent. Taught me a lot in that situation of it's you versus everyone at that point, and I think it's a good life lesson that every young man and young woman should learn. Fast forward, I did wrestle through high school and in college at a club program, and helped with my old program, high school program, as assistant coach. But when I got into law school, I didn't have time to coach and wanted to stay involved. So I decided to go out on a whim and go to our local chapter for high school officials. Did not know anything about the rules growing up, did not know anything about the rules as I was competing, and learned quite a lot. Fortunately, I had some great high school mentors that loved the art of officiating, and they just transferred that art to me. Just like the first time that I towed the line in competition, I will always remember the first time that I reffed my first varsity high school match. Just as intimidating, knowing that everybody there in the gym, even though it wasn't too many people, but everybody there and both coaches and all of the competitors look to you to be the expert on the rules, to be the professional that it should be, and then to do a good job. So especially being the first time, it was nerve-wracking. Went through a few years of high school officiating, and fortunately was seen by some of my now college mentors, and reffed high school nationals and Super 32, and ultimately got into the college business. I think it's important to point out for both college coaches and high school coaches this next step, and that was 5 years of just grind. It was a grind of becoming an official. My very first year, my very first weekend, I was called on Wednesday to see if I could go to Michigan State Open. I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. I had already had a Campbellsville, Kentucky date on Sunday. So I drove all day Friday to Michigan State, reffed all day Saturday, drove through the night, stayed at a rest area for 2 or 3 hours, and then reffed all day Sunday just to drive more hours back home. And for about 5 years there, that was my life as a young official trying to learn the sport and learn the art. And it still occurs. A lot of hungry guys are still doing that. So just realize, especially in the college arena, you have some guys that are busting their tail to try to be better for you. So ultimately, that has led to the past 4 years I've been able and been honored to ref at the D1 National Championships. But even there, the standard of excellence is so high. I look across that room and I know, take me out of it, there are 19 just experts at what they do that have been doing it for decades, generally, each of them. And just as somebody who studies their craft, I'm just honored to be with them. And I think it's good for coaches to understand what they put into it. So that's a little bit about me and my wrestling background from South Carolina, towing the line just 3 weeks after I walked onto the team, to now 4 years of officiating the D1 National Championships. I've been asked to talk about what are proper relationships with officials and refs, and I think it's an important topic, especially in modern times. But I guess the first and foremost is sort of the background to myself is that we are people too, and we have stresses on us. We, on the high school level, when I used to ref high school, you would leave work, drive to the high school, you would do weigh-ins, ref the match, drive home, and you may only see that 45 minutes to an hour and a half, but what you don't see is the other hour of the weigh-ins, the hour of driving back and forth, and then the multiple preseason meetings that we did, and then your own self-study. So hours and hours goes into just that 45 minutes that's there. But we know that y'all are people too, or at least we should. And I would be the first to criticize refs if we do have inappropriate conduct among ourselves. But at the end of the day, we have families. I have a 3-year-old. I'm married as well, and we have jobs that are, this is not a full-time job, whether it's high school or college. So primarily speaking, we do it for the love of the sport and hopefully giving back to the sport that has given us a lot. Certainly not to your dedication as coaches, both on the high school or college front, but realize that we do spend a year round. I'm currently at a 2-day convention out of state, just solely so we can discuss things about our officials association across the nation and to hopefully make us better in training and in the things that we do. But understand from our perspective, most of us have reffed for years. I just realized last year that, and I'm entering my 20th year of officiating, that the college guys, some of the college guys I was officiating last year were not born when I started. So for good, bad, or ugly, I've seen a lot on the wrestling mats. So the experience there, the training, I hope it goes with notice that, especially on the college front, but the high school guys that I know as well, there is a number of preseason meetings. On the college level, we are discussing things throughout the year. Some of us are calling throughout the year. When we're in season, we are having in-season meetings, Zoom meetings, and discussing the latest. For all of us that are trying to become better, we watch probably as much film as coaches in certain scenarios. I'm watching film both of matches that I do, but then more importantly of guys that I respect, to see if I can pick up anything or notice any tendencies throughout the year, because our sport, especially in my 20 years, has evolved a lot. We travel just as much as the teams. Obviously, every weekend we're somewhere, and on the high school level, not as far, but you are traveling distances quite a bit. I remember my high school days of 4 or so events a week, and that adds up over the time. And so all of that together is the sacrifices that I know y'all are well aware of high school coaches and college coaches. We officials, we sacrifice as well. Like I said, I have a 3-year-old, and when I leave for a weekend to do an event, I'm leaving my daughter behind and my wife behind. But again, it's for something that I think that's bigger than all of us, is helping out the sport that is making young men and young women the best that they can be. And then finally, we certainly don't work out to the degree that we used to, but it is an important part of, especially in the college world, that we maintain our physical fitness. So that also is not seen, but hopefully you do realize it at times. So next part is establishing the relationships, and I think that needs to be done, actually, if you can, before you actually need them. And in that, what I mean is, at some point, you will want to speak to us as an official, and having that relationship up front only helps that. And obviously, communication is key with that. So, separating it a little bit before the match, during the match, and after the match, moving to during the match of relationships with the officials. Number one, I would encourage you to know the rule book as best as you can. It's our job. I think it's our job to be the experts in the gym of that rule book, but it certainly helps when the coaches understand the rules as best as they can. Just like I think it's our job. We're certainly not experts of wrestling technique or what's happening, but it is our jobs as officials to know what you're teaching and how to anticipate where those are going, those moves are going, and to be in the best positions that we can. So in a way, we are learning from you and your team to where we need to be so we can make the best calls. And so on the flip side, I think it's also part of coach's responsibility to know a little bit about the rules so we can kind of act and synchrony there. Another thing during the match is picking your moments. I see often, especially with younger coaches, that want to work on the refs from the moment, from the first whistle. And it's something that I would, if I was a consultant to coaches, that I would discourage, that you need to pick your moments to work on a ref, because it works more, it's worth more. When we know that you're going to express displeasure with every call, it makes your voice less heard. I can't speak for other refs, but it was like it continues to be like my competition days. I really don't hear anything when I'm reffing other than the two coaches. And I do listen to them. I want to listen to them because I view them as the experts in the room as far as what's going to happen, what their focus is, and what they view as valuable. So I want to make sure that I give due diligence to that. But when it's everything and anything, obviously I can't listen to all of that. And on the flip side, when we're training refs, new refs, sort of similar to that is I don't want a ref to be solely focused on the call before him or her. I want him or her to know the bigger picture. In a duel match, for example, I want them to know whether one team is trying to get a major decision or not. That is something that you have to take a breath, realize the bigger picture in the game, and know, obviously, call what's in front of you, but also know what the coaches are truly worked up about, or what they're trying to get across to you. 3, during the match, I'll be the first to admit that refs do make mistakes. We do. I have made a number of them, and I'll be entering my 20th year. I have not called the perfect match yet. When I do, I will stop calling because I think that's unattainable. But some just funny things that have happened. I remember one of my first year or two calling, and I was told that a blind wrestler was going to be competing in this high school tournament. And so I was young and fresh, but I knew how to start a blind match. And for a whole period we were going, and I maintained physical contact through that, and I felt so proud of myself. And then the head ref came running over in between period 1 and 2, and he said, "Neal, I was wrong. He's not blind, he's deaf." And so I flashed back to the beginning of that match when I made them finger touch, and the deaf wrestler looked at me like I was the biggest idiot. And I was. So that's one example. Another example is my first scuffle, Southern scuffle. I was nervous as anything, and they put me with a Hall of Famer ref, and he was going to protect me all day, and he did protect me all day. He took the first match, and of course, as the wrestling gods would have it, the match went into overtime, and it was a takedown to the back, and he blew his whistle, stopping the match. And of course, we were supposed to allow that to continue, and he comes walking over, and he said, "Well, don't worry about anything, don't do that." And when a Hall of Famer did that, and it was, I think, my 3rd year of college officiating, I knew that that even the best make mistakes. Just a year or two later, at a different scuffle, Kerry Colette at Campbell came up to me after a match and described the situation, and I thought I was correct, but I wanted to make sure, and fortunately through some sort of streaming we were able to pull it up during a break that we had, and I took it to the veteran officials there, and every veteran officials there said, no, you were wrong. The coach was right. So afterwards, before we started, I went back to coach and I told him I reviewed the film and talked to my veteran officials, and yeah, I was wrong. But that's a good example of a coach knowing that we're not perfect, having a good opportunity to take a young ref and make that ref better. And then, you know, that strive for perfection is always there. So for number one, we refs, we constantly make mistakes. We are out of position. We sometimes misinterpret rules. But I would say, especially if you're dealing with a above average high school ref or just about any college ref, they are striving to be a better official. And while they may not have it now, just like I didn't have it with that deaf and blind match, I think at one point, as long as we don't continue stomping on the ref, that ref will continue to get better. And the last thing that I'll say that during the match that I noticed is the teams obviously take on the coach's personality. You know, if you are a coach that constantly is after the ref, instead of focusing on the officiating, I think that transfers to your team, and I don't know if that's the best thing for the team. Then afterwards, after the match is done, what's good communication with refs? And number one, I think to have communication. I think a lot of times it's felt as this guy is leaving the room. Thank goodness this guy is leaving the room, and we don't have to talk to him again, him or her again. And I would encourage you to talk to that ref and have a relationship and follow up in the right way. There are a number of examples, and one that sticks out to me about Scotty Sentes here. I had 2 straight years of calling the Campbell at App State duel for the conference championship, and it's an intense atmosphere at App State, and Scotty at one point after one or the first or second one texted me a couple days later and said he watched film and that I had done a decent job, and that meant a lot. That just like the coaches, that I certainly reviewed those 2 duels myself and critiquing myself. Daniel Elliott at Gardner-Webb, and I'm focused on SoCon because I've been in the SoCon for a number of years. But this past championship, Daniel Elliott in the finals of one of the matches had an extremely close call, and it was an in or out situation where his kid was trying to stay in, and for just a millisecond, for less than a blink, I had them out, and I blew them out. And with 8 seconds to go, and we go back to the center, and ultimately his kid won. But a couple days later, he sent me a screenshot of what he thought of his guy staying in, and then I found another screenshot of where I thought was closer and that was in. But having that relationship and trust of being able to say, hey, look, I think you got this wrong, and the ref being humble to take that criticism, and if he is wrong, to admit it, and if not, to say his perspective. But at the end of the day, any good ref will know that a coach is there to be biased, and I expect you to be. I want you to be an advocate for your wrestler, and I certainly want you, if there was something misapplied, I want you to get up out of your seat and fight for your guy. But at the end of the day, having that relationship and being able to speak calmly and wait a day and talk to the ref and learn from the ref, because more likely than not, I may get in trouble with this, but more likely than not, the ref is probably right. It's just a situation of your job is to protect and to advocate for your guy. Other coach, your opponent, is doing the same thing, and it's our guy to be that in-between guy to call it as fair as possible. So that appreciation is two-way. I will end on high school coaches, college coaches. As an official of 20 years, I don't respect anybody more or appreciate anybody more than high school and college coaches. What y'all do for our sport is phenomenal, it's unbelievable, but more important is what you do for our nation, because you combine everything that wrestling coaches do across this nation, and it is producing quality men and women from all of the things that they are learning through our sport, and that's only because of you and the sacrifices that you make. So with that, respect breeds respect, and I appreciate everything.